What if Bing Bong was not just Riley's imaginary friend, but something much darker? In Inside Out, he seems sweet, harmless, loving. He sings, he cries candy, he sacrifices himself so joy can escape, and that sacrifice scene destroyed us. But what if it was not heroism? What if it was his final feeding? Bing Bong only exists as long as Riley believes in him. He thrives on her emotions, joy, sadness, imagination, hope. Every laugh makes him stronger. Every memory keeps him alive. But imaginary friends all share the same curse. They are born to disappear. Now here's the disturbing part. What if Bing Bong knows this from the beginning? What if every moment of encouragement, every song, every promise to take her to the moon is designed to deepen Riley's emotional attachment? Because the stronger the attachment, the bigger the emotional surge when he vanishes. And that final sacrifice does not just save joy. It creates one of Riley's most powerful core memories. A permanent emotional scar shaped like loss. Bing Bong does not escape the memory dump. He completes his purpose. He amplifies Riley's emotions one last time and disappears at peak intensity. Bing Bong did not just fade away. He fulfilled the most tragic law of growing up, and Riley's happiness came at a cost. What if Pixar isn't just hiding dark backstories? What if they're showing us the making of their next villain? In Elio isn't powerful. He's invisible. A kid who feels like he doesn't belong anywhere. And then the universe makes a mistake. Aliens abduct him and mistake him for the Earth's leader. Think about that. The one boy who feels unseen is suddenly treated like the most important human alive. That's not just validation. That's identity rewiring. For the first time, he's respected, needed, chosen. But here's the dangerous part. What happens when he goes back to Earth and he's just a kid again? No cosmic title, no intergalactic respect, no importance. You don't turn into a villain because you're evil. You turn because you've tasted significance, and the real world can't compete. If Elio ever decides Earth doesn't deserve him, he won't need to conquer it. He'll believe he's saving it, and that's how the most dangerous villains begin. If you're loving these dark Pixar secrets, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a hidden theory. What if Monsters, Inc. was never Sully's story, but Boo's dark origin? At the end of the film, Boo loses the only being who truly understood her. A toddler who isn't scared of monsters is suddenly separated from them forever. But what if she didn't accept that? We know doors in Monsters, Inc. aren't just portals. They're advanced interdimensional technology. Boo saw them work. She touched them. She watched Mike and Sully rebuild one from memory. Now imagine Boo grows up obsessed, not with monsters, but with the doors. She studies energy, wood, architecture, and eventually figures out how to replicate the magic. Not perfectly, but enough to open unstable portals across time. And that's where Pixar's Easter eggs change meaning. The Pizza Planet truck appearing in different centuries, ancient carvings of Sully, objects out of place in worlds they don't belong. What if those aren't fun references? What if they're timeline fractures, remnants of Boo's experiments? Because if Boo became the architect of her own portal network, then Monsters, Inc. isn't a happy ending. It's the beginning of a time-broken universe. What if Merida unwittingly cracked the very fabric of reality across the Pixar universe? When she defied tradition and unleashed the witch's spell, the magical disturbance didn't stop in Dunbrock. It created rifts between dimensions, seeding unintended consequences for countless worlds. In A Bug's Life, these rifts may have accelerated the evolution of insects, giving them advanced societies and intelligence far beyond normal. In WALL-E, the same cosmic instability could explain why robots like WALL-E and Eve developed emergent consciousness and emotion, bridging the gap between machine and life. In Ratatouille, Anton Ego's iconic emotional reaction to food could be a ripple effect of weakened boundaries between sensory experience and memory, allowing flavors to imprint deeper than ever. Even in The Good Dinosaur, altered evolutionary pathways may have let dinosaurs survive extinction. In this dark origin theory, Merida's actions weren't just a teenage mistake. They were the catalyst for a multiversal shift, rewriting biology, consciousness, and magic across Pixar films. What if Russell became the hidden architect behind one of Pixar's most notorious villains? After Carl's death, Russell's obsession with bravery and testing limits didn't fade. Instead, it twisted into something darker. He became fascinated with human behavior under stress, fear, and risk. As a child prodigy, he began experimenting with gadgets and technology to push people beyond their comfort zones, studying courage and resilience in controlled but increasingly dangerous ways. Over the years, his inventions grew more advanced, secret, and morally questionable. Some theorists believe that these early experiments eventually inspired the technology that Syndrome would later use in The Incredibles. Russell's innocent curiosity became a shadowy obsession, linking the heartwarming story of Up to the rise of one of Pixar's greatest threats. The wilderness explorer became a covert manipulator of human potential, proving that trauma and obsession can turn even the most beloved childhood hero into a hidden force shaping the fate of the Pixar universe. What if the real origin of the Wall-E future began with the most chaotic kid in Toy Story? Sid was never just a bully. He was obsessed with taking things apart and rebuilding them into something new. While other kids played with toys, Sid experimented on them, combining parts, rewiring bodies, forcing objects to become something they were never meant to be. After the toys came to life and terrified him, everyone assumes he grew out of it. But what if that moment did not stop him? It redirected him. Years later in Toy Story 3, we see Sid working as a garbage collector, giving him unlimited access to discarded machines, broken electronics, and abandoned tech. In a world increasingly dependent on automation, a mind like Sid's would not stay unnoticed. What if he studied engineering, joined By and Large, and helped pioneer the autonomous systems that would eventually replace human labor? The same mindset that once stitched toys into mutants could evolve into designing robots to clean up human waste. Sid did not just break toys. He helped build the machines that replaced humanity. What if Radiator Springs is a cosmic purgatory for cars whose spirits are stuck in failure and regret? Doc Hudson wasn't just a washed-up racer. He became the guardian of this spiritual checkpoint after his own career-ending crash, bound to the town to make sure lost cars face their deepest flaws. Lightning McQueen crashes into Radiator Springs not by chance, but because his obsession with fame and winning traps him emotionally, keeping him from leaving until he confronts his pride and selfishness. Mater, seemingly a carefree rusty tow truck, represents those clinging to identity and purpose after being sidelined, while Sally embodies the unfulfilled dreams of cars trying to escape but still haunted by their past. Every car in the town is forced to confront their personal crashes, their regrets, and their emotional failures. Radiator Springs is not a town, but a metaphysical crossroads, a soul checkpoint where unresolved trauma and the weight of failure are confronted head-on, forcing each car to find redemption before they can truly move on. What if Ernesto de la Cruz's iconic guitar is the source of his rise and ultimate corruption? The movie shows us Ernesto's charm, fame, and the betrayal of Hector, but it never tells the full story of the guitar itself. Legend says the guitar was passed down through generations, tied to the land of the dead's mystical rules, giving its player a subtle power over memory and emotion. Young Ernesto discovered the instrument and realized it amplified his charisma, making audiences forgive his flaws and remember him long after performances ended. Obsessed with fame, he used it to manipulate crowds, erase rivals, and ultimately betray his closest friend, Hector. But the guitar came with a hidden curse. It feeds on lies, greed, and betrayal, binding the user's legacy to their moral corruption. Every act of deceit strengthens the guitar's power and ensures that its previous victims, like Hector, fade from the living world. In this way, the guitar becomes a dark origin for Ernesto, turning a simple object into a haunting force that shaped both his destiny and the lives of everyone around him. What if Mei Li unintentionally became the source of emotional trauma across the Pixar universe? Every time she transformed, her red panda magic didn't just affect her. It leaked into the minds of children around her, imprinting raw, unfiltered emotions that distorted their psychological development. This dark ripple may explain why Riley in Inside Out experiences extreme emotional breakdowns, mood swings, and inner chaos far beyond what is typical for a child her age. May's uncontrolled power effectively infected the emotional fabric of others, leaving a hidden legacy of anxiety, repression, and volatile feelings. Her curse, originally meant as a family-bound puberty magic, became a cosmic contagion, a magical echo that spread trauma where she never intended. May's red panda transformations created a chain reaction of psychic instability, shaping the emotional lives of children across the world, making her a hidden, unwilling villain whose magic haunts minds long after her own adolescence. What if Wall-E's heroic cleanup of Earth is the origin of a dark future humanity never anticipated? By removing centuries of human trash, exposing fertile soil, and reintroducing plant life, Wall-E created the perfect conditions for insects to thrive and evolve rapidly. Abandoned cities, decaying structures, and newly fertile land gave insects an unprecedented advantage, allowing them to develop intelligence, societal organization, and dominance over the environment. Humans returned to Earth, dependent on technology and largely sedentary, and never fully reclaimed control, leaving Wall-E's restoration as the unintended catalyst for a new ruling species. Over generations, insects could dominate Earth's ecosystems, adapting faster than humans, and potentially even evolving to rival human-level cognition. Wall-E, unknowingly, sets in motion an ecological uprising, where the very planet he saved becomes a breeding ground for a species that could surpass humanity. His actions, meant to restore life, inadvertently become the origin of a future takeover, turning our beloved robot hero into the unwitting architect of a dark new world order. What if Edna Mode is the hidden architect of a secret government control program? In The Incredibles 1 and 2, she shows uncanny knowledge of superpowers, warns about the dangers of capes, and crafts suits that are perfect for survival. But what if that genius wasn't accidental? Edna was recruited by a covert government division during the glory days of supers to design costumes not just for protection, but for control and surveillance. Her suits were secretly equipped with biometric monitoring, adaptive neural feedback, and hidden fail-safes to keep superheroes in check, giving authorities ultimate oversight. When supers were outlawed, Edna walked away with all that knowledge, but remnants of her technology remained in every suit she created, which is why she intuitively knows how to manage powers like Jack-Jacks or mitigate accidents without anyone realizing. This means her "no capes" warning isn't just about safety. It's about preventing unseen dangers built into every supersuit, making Edna both the guardian and the silent puppeteer of the superworld. What if Dory's memory loss is the origin of a hidden evolutionary shift in ocean life? The movies show us that Dory's short-term memory can be triggered by environmental cues, unlocking long-lost recollections and allowing her to navigate impossible challenges. But what if this is the first sign of a deeper phenomenon? Her brain, shaped by trauma and isolation, may have unintentionally sparked a new form of cognitive adaptation, creating the foundation for a collective subconscious among fish. Emotional and sensory experiences could be passed through generations, forming a linked memory network that lets ocean creatures share survival knowledge, memories, and even emotions without traditional communication. In this dark origin scenario, Dory isn't just a forgetful fish, she's the catalyst for an entirely new form of oceanic life, forever altering the natural order and turning her innocent journey into the beginning of a mysterious, haunting evolution beneath the waves. What if Anton Ego was secretly shaping the future of Parisian cuisine in a dark and lasting way? Every review he wrote elevated technical perfection and trendiness over creativity, soul, and authenticity, creating a culture where chefs were forced to compromise their passion to survive. Over decades, this obsession turned Paris into a city where artistic cooking became a high-stakes game measured by Michelin stars rather than heart. Ego's childhood memory of the Ratatouille dish shows his deep love for authentic flavor. Yet that same emotional imprint fueled his ruthless standards, making him unknowingly the architect of this culinary corruption. His influence echoes across the Pixar universe, from the artistic pressures in Soul, where passion is measured against expectation, to the memory-driven cultural legacies in Coco, where what is preserved or lost defines a society, and even to sustainability themes in Wall-E and sensory evolution in Finding Dory. Every dish, every trend, every sacrifice can be traced back to him, making Ego both guardian and unwitting villain of taste. He didn't just critique food, he shaped the world's culinary destiny, one plate at a time. Which Pixar character's secret should we uncover next? Subscribe now and join the theory hunt. The truth is darker than you think.